Kat's toughness and grit, I don't know where that comes from, but she clearly can demonstrate it time and time again.
There's just nothing that she won't eventually get through.
If I'm actually performing to my limit, that's not enjoyable for me. I don't find myself having fun, but I get satisfaction and enjoyment having fulfilled my potential.
Been through a whole lot, but we overcome. Enemies in our face, but we ain't gon' run. Never drift off course, always stay on mission. Won't slow us down, cause we way too driven. Whole world is watching, and I hope they ready. From here on out, we are legendary. Turn the lights up now, welcome to the show. I ain't never gon' stop, this is all I know. My eyes on the prize, until I die. I'm gonna rise, level up to the skies. Yeah, we here now, we were chosen. All the pain brought us to this moment. Watch everything we work for fall in line. We gon' give it our all until the end of time. We ain't going nowhere. We'll be standing right until the end of time. Until the end of time.
Yeah, I'm nervous, and a couple of my friends have bailed because it's too hot for them, so I'm feeling a little bit yeah, vulnerable to the heat. But like I just said, it can't go that wrong if I just stick to heart rate and try and enjoy it.
Cool. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Oh, cool.
So how was your first experience of the energy of that?
It was better than expected. I feel like we made it as hard as possible, as in middle of the day, still adjusting a couple of days in, so way better than expected. Yeah, happy days. It's not that bad.
Do you?
Yeah, it feels better than it did last year to be here in Kona at a World Championship, that's for sure.
So thank you so much, Kat Matthews. We are thrilled to have you here with us today. Thank you.
I sort of reflected the other day actually that it was 3 years nearly to the week that I qualified for this race. So the idea that I've spent 3 years of my life like sort of dreaming about this race is a bit mad because of COVID, because of everything else. So yeah, it's pretty spectacular. I think when I got into the Ironman sort of sport and distance, it was only ever about Kona. I can't describe it. I think that's maybe the sort of the magic that everyone talks about. I roll my eyes at that sort of thing, but when you're here and you're really about to take on this sort of beast of Kona, that I think it then becomes real. I can't describe it.
Rolled into the sort of Texas build, you know, for Kona. Spent the whole month in Texas, which was great in terms of having, you know, a really lovely host family, everything super comfortable, surrounded by really good friends and training partners. But the training out there was so tough. It was breaking me to the point of making me. I was just out on a normal training ride, and just out of nowhere, a car was turned across my lane of, like my side of the road and into I think it was a church car park, and I just went head on into the side of the car. And then I don't remember too much there until waking up in the hospital. I fractured the base of my skull, crushed from in front, fractured 2 of the vertebrae in my back, thoracic back, fractured my sternum. I didn't know at the time I'd also done a rib and my hip as well.
You could see from honestly day 1 on how she learned how to deal with the situation, accept the situation, realizing that sure she won't make Kona in 2 weeks, but then started to develop and started to get into what does this injury mean, what do I need to do.
We got discharged after a few days because we had a flight to Hawaii to catch. So Mark had come out early, and Ruth, my training partner, you know, she was racing in Kona, so we decided to go with her the whole way as per plan, and it was definitely the right decision. Maybe not the actual flight itself wasn't that fun, but it was the right decision to go to Kona and spectate.
Those two are from the UK, and our next special guest is Kat Matthews, another athlete from the UK, physiotherapist.
She still came to Kona.
Having them there at the scene.
I think part of it was I want to experience the island. I want to experience the, you know, circus that is Kona in Hawaii, the Ironman World Championships in Hawaii, to prepare. I'm sure she had that in the back of my mind. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to race these women.
It was hard for Kat, but it was the best of the options. Was it going to go to sit in our military house at the time, which was grey and horrible and in the rain in the UK, or was it to go and spend time in sunny Hawaii and watch the best athletes in the world do their thing, be surrounded by friends?
Kat Matthews was in Kona in a neck brace, and you know, here really almost just being thankful to be here, period.
I'm sure she was thinking, I'm going to be here next year and I'm gonna get a world title someday.
I'm not really worried or even thinking about it. It's just I've got to let the bones heal and then get back on it over Christmas.
Because obviously it rocks into it.
My childhood, full of fun. Yeah, I was super sporty. Both my parents were in the military actually. My mum way before I was born, but my father was in the Royal Marines the whole time I was growing up. So we always had sort of adventurous activities alongside. I did like swimming club, lots of cross-country running as a teenager. And I also played a lot of hockey and basketball all through my childhood basically. So I was good at running. I never really tried super hard to be really good at one thing. I went through phases through my childhood of thinking, oh, the Royal Marines is like the coolest thing ever, I want to be a Royal Marine. And I did some work experience in a physio department in a military base and saw the sort of patients that, you know, that job as a military physio, and then it was sort of within 2 days I decided I want to be an army physio. I served for 4 or 5 years, just, you know, full time doing my proper job as a physio, and alongside my job I also got to go and play sport, try different sports like triathlon, but also play hockey for, you know, for the army, for the combined services, so it's like all of the military. There was an opportunity to take a team from the unit who'd never done triathlon, no one had, to go and do a triathlon. It went really well. Now it's unsurprising, at the time it was surprisingly well. Being good at something is a natural motivator, and I just started really enjoying the structure of the training.
What sets Kat apart from her competitors, for me, is that she didn't grow up doing triathlon. She came to this later in life, and I think has a different appreciation, a different look, and I would say different attitude than a lot of her peers that maybe grew up short course racing or grew up in a more traditional pathway to triathlon. So I think Kat Kat finding the sport late is fantastic for her because she can look at it and solve problems in a completely different way than her competitors.
Okay. Yeah, but
Kat is massive in her physical and mental awareness, which is special. As every time she gives feedback, you can highly rely on it. Therefore, makes it pretty easy for a coach to really understand how she feels, how she's acting, how training went, and this and that.
I like to think that I'm super receptive to advice and opinions, but I definitely have a bit of an ingrained I need real buy-in.
She is precise and calculated in what she does. She wants to know the data behind the equipment she's using, the training method she's using, all that sort of stuff. But I don't think you can live every element of your life that way.
She swims 4 to 5 times per week, 4 to 5 times with very quality sessions. So not like just looking on the volume, the meters you swim or the hours you spend in the water, but having a quality session, check. Same for biking and running. If you would see her run kilometers, especially when you see her performance, you would expect her to hit numbers above 100K per week. And so far, since we're working together, I would be surprised if it would have been 90 plus ever in 1 week. Therefore, in hours, something in between 15 and 30. The average is probably about 20 to 25.
I think that I do have a different perspective on things like, oh, this is awful, this is really bad. It's like, well, is it though? The worst, literally probably the worst sort of, in my imagination, the worst thing to me happened and I was able to just heal and be fine again. So that gives me a lot of sort of superhero inner confidence that my body works really well, body and mind, and that it like gives me a bit of a confidence boost when I need it the most, I think.
I'm stuck in space, got a daydream running through my brain every day.
It was pretty clear in November, December that if she can do the training camp and if she really can go back to 20 plus hours of training, then it also can be possible to do another race.
I like it the way I move, I like it the way I move, I like it.
I think Oceanside, I've seen it for the last few years on my sort of, I guess, triathlon pre-season radar. And it's always been one of those races that looks really cool. I guess it ticks that bucket list sort of list if that's what, if that's your thing, but I just want to be part of the biggest race of the pre-season. I can't imagine the Oceanside finish line without welling up. So I guess mentally I'm in a little bit of a whirlpool of where I'm at, and I'm just really fixating on what I know, which is prepare for a race, race the race, and stop thinking, turn off the mental side of it. There's absolutely no way I'll win on Saturday. So, no, that's not my goal. I think that I can beat these girls in the future, but not this week.
Welcome to our coverage for the Athletic Brewing Ironman 70.3 Oceanside North American Tri-Club Championship.
Conditions are clear, water temperature chilly, 56 degrees Fahrenheit.
Matthews, last year she was undefeated at this distance. She's a racer and she's a very tough competitor.
Let's go, here we are. It's fun.
Inserting a little bit of a surge.
Kat Matthews, watch out. So obviously sidelined by that bad crash, that bad injury last fall.
As soon as I came out the swim with Paula, I had already exceeded my own expectation, like from the last 7-8 months. It was like already better than I could have expected the year before, let alone the accident. And there was something about physically I can do that, but also fitness-wise, if I can swim with Paula and only a minute behind Holly or so, then I've sort of proven to the triathlon world and to myself that I am able to be a professional athlete.
Kat Matthews was just a pleasure to watch in Oceanside after her accident and not really knowing if she would be able to get back to competing again and going into 2022 with such great form and certainly an athlete we were all looking, coming second in St. George, really was a breakthrough for her at the Ironman World Championships in St. George. And then honestly, we didn't know if she would come back to racing. First of all, the physical injuries she suffered from, but then the mental side of getting back out there on your bike and riding your bike on the roads again with cars and so forth. So to see her line up in Oceanside, I think was really cool. But then, to see her race so well was just a testament to the athlete that she is and the grittiness that she has and the talent that she has as well.
I haven't got the words yet. I think it was actually, normally I can't really think about the finish until I cross the line. But I hit 17K and I knew it was fine from start to finish. I enjoyed every moment. There was a few moments of doubt, a few moments of, I'll give this a go, I'll blow up at any point, but I had every excuse to blow up, and it was actually really fun to really just race at 70.3. I really enjoyed it.
History being made here as our pro women will take to the course, have the entire course to themselves.
In the morning I was really nervous. The night before was I couldn't really eat. I never struggled to eat rice, and carbo load, but I was feeling quite sick. The morning of the race, I've never couldn't finish my breakfast. And race morning I was just super jittery. And I had never thought it would be possible to be that nervous. You don't deal with it, you just have to wait for the time until the gun goes.
Professional women racing here today.
So I had heard, obviously, and seen on video how dramatic the Kona start is, but it's mad. I was quite anxious about it because of the dynamic, not really understanding the paddleboard chainsaw to keep you all back. And it's so tactical, there's so many decisions to make at the spur of the moment, because you can talk about it beforehand, but you can never predict out of that top, let's say 20 swimming people, who's going to go where, who happens to be on one side or the other. But my warm-up felt really good. I was like, I need to, where is everyone? I just felt like I was just swimming really well, which is a really good indication for me. I found myself swimming with Lisa Norden, and I thought, cool, I'm in a good place and I feel really good. I'm going to try and bridge the gap to the Chelsea group, or whoever else was in that group. I think she might have even been with Taylor at that point, and Fenella. But I was trying to bridge the gap, but I couldn't do it. So I then sat back in behind somebody else, and knowing Lisa was on my feet just gave me the confidence that we were clearly swimming at a really decent pace. Really happy with how that was going, and just felt really good. And I think we ended up catching that whole group, caught Jocelyn and caught the rest of the group by the time we got near the pier again. So it was, really nice.
To the Woodlands, Texas, for the Memorial Herman Ironman Texas, part of the VinFast IRONMAN World Championship. America's Championship, the regional championship for North and South America.
This is my second time. Is this on camera? Are you filming this?
We're going.
Okay. Second time. The first time I came was 6-7 months ago.
and had a great month of training out here before I was going to race Kona. It's been a funny few hours. Landing, I wasn't expecting it to hit me, and it hit me that I just suddenly felt really sad and a bit scared, I guess. I'm not sure, I haven't worried about processing that emotion. And then getting in the car, driving to our homestay, Raoul, it was all happy memories. So I think it'll be fine. It's day one of the week, so who knows?
A great day of racing. The weather outside right now is actually
I think when Kat was coming back from the injuries post the car incident, no one day was the same. Some days she was super positive, things were great. Other days it was just like genuinely traumatic. Sometimes she had no information. Some days, 3 months after the crash, she would find out she had actually broken her hip as well, and she just didn't know. And it's how you deal with those days. I don't think there was any point of consistency. I would say, like, it took 3 months to be optimistic, and then once the optimism set in, like, I'm gonna race Texas, then it was inspirational. Up until that point, it was watching someone you really care about suffer, and that was just hard.
Coming out of Oceanside, it's given me an incredible amount of confidence to come here and I'm back to what feels like back to a sort of mentality of like, I'm here to win the race.
Is in 4th place. Kat Matthews is still in 5th, and so is.
I thought Kat would do really well in Texas, and it actually didn't start out as I expected, because she got out of the swim in 4th, but then on the bike she didn't really bike super well. She was kind of losing time to the leaders. And then as we got off the bike, she was 9 minutes-ish from the lead. In 4th still, I believe, and then slowly moved up. And I think even at the halfway, she was still 5 minutes back. So she ran really well that day.
And to me, failure is not getting my Kona slot. So if I get my Kona slot, I've achieved my aims. But winning is the goal, the top of that tier, and I think it's a very realistic possibility without, I'm hoping, too much risk.
Leave no stone unturned, and that's what makes us so good.
Winner today, Memorial Herman, Ironman Texas.
Was definitely encouraging to see her run right where we, would expect. Yeah, I think it was pretty emotional for her crossing the finish line in 1st place. And yeah, it was like, okay, Kat's back on track for Kona.
For our top 3 women here, Ironman Texas.
I saw that we were with everyone, and it was suddenly like, whoa, this is a bit weird, There's Jocelyn, there's Lisa, there's me, there's Fenella, there's Chelsea, and then there's Anne and Daniela. Like, this is mad. I don't think I had a great transition, I'm not sure. I assume there's a bit of practice to be done there. With so many people going through town on the bike was tricky. I think we actually lost a lot of time probably to Lucy at that point. The dynamic of that around bends, everybody just concertinaing, it was a bit odd. But Daniela and then I hit Polani at the front. I sort of took a cue off Daniela's tactic of how to get past the group and when to go. And then she attacked Polani, and I honestly thought I was about to die. And then, but knew at that point, like, Bjorn was on the side of the road, he was like, just try and stay with her, try and stay with her. And I know he meant, the whole race. But it was more like, just stay with her just for this hill, because you don't know whether she's just going to go. For me, it was Daniela at the front, and then me, and Fenella was around. I had no idea that we still had 10 other people in the train. You have to work a lot harder at the front. So I think I don't even remember too much of that, but it was about an hour in my world of just the three of us sort of being in what I thought was a little pack.
And when Kat went with Daniela pretty confident, it was all looking really good. But the minute we got to the turn where you turn left to go up Harvey and she'd been gapped by 5 seconds, I knew it was game over. There's just no way she gets gapped by the girls that were in that group. If Daniela on her own drops Kat, fine. If 10 girls drop Kat, it's just not right. There's something horribly wrong.
I'm good. And the worse the weather conditions, the better in my eyes. So I think it's actually, I'm quite excited. It looks like a perfectly awful average day on Saturday, which is great. What I learned from earlier in the year is I want to be in the race, and it takes a lot to come from behind on the bike. So I want to be in the race as soon as I can. So however that translates, it's hard. I'll either be out in the swim in the right swim position, or I'll have to get there at some point during the bike. Worst case scenario, I have to get there at some point during the run, which is normally where I'm at.
I don't think anyone really expected Kat to do what she did. She had Paula Findlay, Emma Palin-Brown, obviously Daniela Riff, and Taylor Knibb. Some athletes that are tried and true in the 70.3 distance and don't race Ironman. Obviously Daniela does, but Emma Palin-Brown and certainly Paula Findlay, they're considered 70.3 specialists or middle distance specialists. And so when she got off the bike in third position, yes, but with Daniela Riff, Emma Palin-Brown, Paula Findlay, I didn't look at that and think, Kat's the fastest runner of this group. And I would have picked Taylor for the win. She was 5 minutes up the road from those women. And then Emma Palin-Brown and Paula, but it wasn't to be. It was Kat. It was the strength athlete. It was the Ironman athlete and the fighter that went out there and took that second place. And I think that was surprising for maybe not for her, but I think that was surprising for most people watching.
There's relief in there for sure, but I don't know yet. I'm a bit overwhelmed. It's always just, you never really believe it. And I've spent months and months grafting, believing that I wasn't yet good enough. And now I feel like, yeah, okay, I'm good enough again. So I'm really excited.
It felt like the win of the year, as in I came second, but for me it felt like the absolute achievement. You know, I could never expected such a good performance, and to have such a good day and to feel so good. All that was just this massive fire of confidence for Kona. And instead of going into the race thinking like, okay, you know, have some perspective of this last year, it was, I'm fit enough to win this race. If I don't win it, I failed. So that's maybe not the best mindset. It was just like I couldn't physically function anymore. All I could think about was that I felt awful, and not just like, you know, there was nothing psychological at that point. That's what I'm finding really hard to process. Is I was in best case position. I was with the best people. Like everything was perfect, and I was feeling great. And then suddenly it was like, can't function, need to stop, need water, can't grab the water bottles, like can't make a decision, can't put any effort in. It felt impossible for me to then cycle on. So the first few days were very just emotional. It's actually a really nice present from a spectator in Texas. I couldn't get my head out of like the why, like the just constant what went wrong. I need some sort of explanation, because otherwise what's to stop it happening again? Now I'm in a bit of a period of like mental health low, that everything else is taking a bit of toll. I know it wasn't just me having a moment and being a bit rubbish. There was something wrong. So I'm constantly battling that for like probably about 10 days. Decide to sort of action that, and my friend was like, you have to get someone to help. And I don't know if it's just a British thing, but I don't like asking for help very much. Perhaps even he suggested like perhaps looking at psychology, but we were also mainly focused on the sort of medical side of things.
It took weeks to come to terms with, weeks. Like Ironman is the event. I don't care what else is going on in triathlon. The Ironman World Championships is the only event that matters outside of the Olympic gold medal, and I think most people would still take a Kona win over the Olympics. So to drop out of that race when you're one of the favourites is horrendous.
I've decided to enter Bahrain at the end of the year, well, in 4 weeks. And mainly to give me something positive to sort of just like mentally keep working towards, rather than just accepting that Kona was the end of my season. Because I think even though I've had a great season and I can see that on paper, all I can feel is this like uselessness from Kona I don't want to take into next year. I want to try and react positively towards it.
Behind my eyes, lean towards the color that lies within. Nothing between you and I. Still you right there under my skin. I've been waiting. There's no fault lines to crack and leave me aching. Sinking on the phone line, it leaves me numb. But it's something that might never come, so I'll be waiting here in your arms.